So the entire concept of triage center, firstly, it's pronounced as triage. It's a French word, but of course, the whole idea is an evaluation matrix through an algorithm. So that's how the hospitals operate. Normally, triage would very simply mean that we assess the person's condition, because now we need to take three important decisions: whether the patient can be at home, whether the patient requires some kind of a mild hand holding and treatment, which can be offered with our facilities itself, or whether he needs to be hospitalized. So to take this decision, till now, BBMP has only been doing something called as a teletriage, sitting in the zonal control room, sitting in 1912, sitting in the BBMP war room. We've been asking the patient, what is your SpO2? How are you feeling? What's your age, comorbidities? Or we have been taking WhatsApp messages, which are floating all around in that format. Never we have seen a patient physically before assessing whether he or she requires a hospital bed or not. So physical triage specifically is nothing but a medical evaluation of the patient on his suitability for any kinds, home isolation, CCC, or hospital. Also, it gives a chance for the patient also to know a lot about. Many of us are under misconception that if I get COVID, I need to rush here, I need to admit myself, whatever it is, that 14 days I have to be in hospital and observe my parameters. Some of us feel privileged that we need to have the access to hospital and we need to go there, whatever. I mean, I've gone through COVID twice, and because of doctor's advice, chose to be in home isolation both the times, with of course regular monitoring and ensuring that one doesn't take their health for granted. So the basic idea of triage, we see the patients. It's a concept of a level 2 triage, which we have now. We are targeting about 60 centers across Bangalore, which act as the level 2. Why level 2? Because they are packing COVID care center with them. They have some oxygenated beds, oxygen concentrators. We can stabilize patients there. Even if we are in need of ICU bed, we can hold them somewhere. Over and above this, we are planning ward level triage centers, which you are aware of. Those will not have any supporting beds, but of course it will be a mini triage kind of center, which can again be linked. And going ahead, we have to think of some kind of a mobile triaging unit also, maybe early this week or late this week or early next week. Some patients we do acknowledge would not be in a position to step out of their homes, even for triaging. So there we have to reach out to them. So broadly, this is the concept, and we can take some questions now.
I'll ask a few high-level questions, then I'll open it up for others. We have 20 minutes time, so we don't have much time, so get every question in there quickly, friends. When a citizen goes into a triage center, what kind of things can she or he expect?
Yeah, so Honorable Chief Commissioner has been very clear that these triage centers should reduce the panic level of the patient. So many of them we find are in a highly panicked state, which itself can reduce the SpO2 level, increase the pulse rate, and patients can sometimes go into shocks. So the idea of a triage center is that BBMP is there visibly. We may not be able to offer you a critical care bed immediately, but the idea is we will assess and tell you what is your level of criticality, what needs to be done. Even if a bed is taking some time, in the interim, how do we stabilize you? Where do we keep you? What do we advise you? So there is a direct chain of communication now established between the BBMP and the patient, one. Second, the patient also would find doctors there, on-duty doctors, nurses, and if any immediate medication has to be initiated, then that can also be done. We have also told in certain critical patients and those with comorbidities, if any kind of a blood report is to be taken, sample is to be taken, please tie up with the nearest lab in the triage center and give the COVID bed panel test. So this, again, maybe will take 1 or 2 days where they're tying up with the labs. But this I feel is extremely critical because in a teletriage, you will not have this facility. You will also, the treatment protocol in COVID, I'm not a doctor, but I've been observing this disease very well over a period of time. And I realized that your COVID bed panel test is very, very critical because it shows that how your body is reacting to this particular virus. The cytokine storm, as has been talked about, it's very essential to be one step ahead of the virus. So I think small investigative tests like this, basic medication very early into the actual detection of the virus or the progression of it will have a huge impact, I feel, in terms of reducing the patient's condition to deteriorate. So I think these facilities are there. And of course, if somebody comes in a breathless state, we can assure them a minimum oxygenated facility of an oxygen concentrator. Some of our CCCs attached to the triage centers also have the oxygen pipeline supply. So the gaseous cylinders are also kept there. So largely, this is what a triage center does. There is a lot of medical counseling also that happens. Many a time we also actually advise to be under home isolation, or if home adequacy check throws up that there is no place in their home to be there without infecting others, then the CCC becomes a walk-in facility for people to come and stay there. So absolutely walk-in. I mean, no restrictions. Even probably somebody awaiting his or her test can walk up and say that my test results are not yet come, but I'm feeling this way. So
permission enu beda. No need for any permission.
That's why we have advertised also in the newspaper that it is a direct walk-in, no prior permission required. So this I want all the citizens to know this.
And anyone can walk into any triage center in the city.
ಹೌದು ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ್, ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅನ್ಸಿದ್ರೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು, I would advise them to reach out to these triage centers. ನಾನು ಹಾಟ್ಲೈನ್ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಿ. We have ensured this hotline is answered because normally ನಮ್ಮ doctors shift duty ಇರುತ್ತೆ, many a time they will not, but at least marshals we have given all CUG numbers. If you see our advertisement, easily rememberable CUG numbers ಇದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. So ಅದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಅವರು ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ they can reach out.
Marshals role ಏನು sir? Why do we have marshals in the
we have only had marshals there so that there is somebody to pick up the phone at any point of time. Yes. Doctors, we do understand they are also looking at the patient and also attending to phone calls. So we don't want them to walk. We want one person there who can receive the phone call, tell the address of the CCC, ಹೇಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ಟೈಮ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೆಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಖಾಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಯರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರಯಾಜ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಯಾವ್ದಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಬ್ರು ಇರೋದು ಅಂತ.
So ತುಂಬಾ questions ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. I'll ask very briefly so you can answer as many as you can. Is BBMP providing food for the patients there? Dr. Shanti is asking.
ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಕೇರ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ just like any hospital has to provide food during those 14 days, COVID care centers alli food bandu nam javabdari. The vendors also are in most places identified, some places in the process of identification, but once ನೀವು COVID care center ಬಂದು ಕೂಡಲೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಊಟದ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡೈಲಿ ಮೆಡಿಕೇಶನ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ನೋಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಟೈಮ್ಗೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲನೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ.
Rakshita Swami is asking, is there a minimum saturation level below which a triage center will not treat you? If it's excellent 85 question. Or something.
Yeah, excellent question. I think that the question of not treating you does not arise. It is only a question of sending you to the right place at the right time. So normally the ballpark kind of a number that we have worked on, because again, this is not a hard and fast watertight compartment. I may have a saturation of 95 and 94 and be okay with it. Whereas somebody who's slightly older, even 94, 93 dropping would become an issue. So CCC ಗೆ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ triage centers ಗೆ, if you are between just above 90, maybe 89, 90 and between 95, then comfortably you can be in our COVID care centers. We do have adequate facilities to cater to them. 89 and below is when we need to start looking at oxygenated beds with a hospital environment. So this is the kind of categorization that we have kept. Of course, there's no hard and fast rule. It will change for people with comorbidities. It will change for people who are senior citizens. We need to look at that aspect.
Yes, too many people are staying at home because oxygen levels are fine, and then suddenly one day it goes really down, and it's too late to get a hospital.
Yeah. So this I want to specify here very carefully that unlike wave 1, when most of us recovered at home with minimal monitoring, please do not ignore this. Do not even ignore the disease when your results are awaited. I would say that day you detect symptoms, and this time the symptoms are not even cold, cough, fever. The symptoms could be as simple as loss of taste, probably some stomach upset. Anything out of the normal that you observe, keep a very close watch, and saturation levels would be the key. We are losing many of the patients because the saturation levels are going down. So very, very close monitoring is required, especially elders. I had to monitor my own parents' health, and almost every 2 hours, sometimes even in the middle of the night, we used to ensure that the saturation levels were checked. So be very wary of this, and the virus can definitely be attended to if timely admission and treatment is given.
Randeep sir, one of the questions that many people have is, who are the doctors that are placed here? We are having a severe shortage of doctors. What kind of doctors have you trained, and are they been trained, and where are they coming from?
So Srinivas, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಡಿಕಲ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ಗೂ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಸಮ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್. ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ 2 ಸೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಅಂತ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಟು ದೆಮ್. There have been some walk-in interviews also conducted. They have also come. But we would like to have at least one MBBS doctor per shift in these COVID care centers, because we just don't want probably a dental doctor or an Ayush doctor alone to handle the COVID care centers. So we are also tying up the nearest PHC to that COVID care center, so that that same medical officer can make 2-3 trips to the COVID care center, and on the duty rounds, you can see these patients, attend to them and come back.
And these are expected to be open 24/7?
Of course. Of course, there are 3 shifts, and when we are saying direct walk-in, because most of the frantic calls we start getting post-dinner, and we would want everybody to know this, that these centers are open, even if you can't reach the BBMP helpline or 1912.
Sapna, do you have a question?
No, we can take other questions, Srinu. I'll ask.
I'm taking it from the chat only.
Yeah.
Sir, Inondu, how are they, what can people do in their ward committees in local wards with respect to triage center? Some wards have the triage center within the ward, some don't. So what is your advice and recommendation?
Yeah, Srinivas, so the idea is that have a level 1 triage across wards. Need not be only in the PHCs. We have told them to take government buildings. Even our revenue officers can let go of the building. Our engineers could let go of the building and shift to another room. So we want to have these level 1 triage centers, 1 per ward at least, so that there is a visible presence of BBMP in terms of seeing the patient face to face at the ward level. Some wards, as you know, are huge. Wards like Bellandur, I mean, even 1 is less for them. But yes, we have said that basic minimum 1 can remain within the ward. The level 2 triage centers are what we have now advertised in the paper and which we are discussing today, which have an associated linked bed facility alongside that. Whereas a level 1 triage facility, which is at a ward level, will just do triaging. They will not have immediately a bed for you to get yourself admitted, or they may not have oxygen support. Now, if a level 1 also wants to go to that level, if some CSR funding is there, if people also want to contribute, and we are also able to find some local support, then why not? Even a level 1 triage center can have about 3-4 beds, and some donors who have contributed oxygen concentrators, we could have some support system there.
One of the very...
Randeep, sir?
Go ahead, Sapna.
Yeah, Randeep, sir, I had a quick question. As part of the ward Ditter committee's initiative that is currently underway, there are many volunteers who are signing up in these wards. Just a quick question: does the triage center have a triage coordinator who's not a medical officer, like a doctor, right, who would be busy, to whom these volunteers can be attached to, and so on? I know there are nodal officers, but they normally are the doctors, and so they may not be the right people to get the volunteers connected to. Is there anybody else that you have detailed for this role?
I would say the ward secretaries will have to play a very important role, as they've been doing in the ward committees. They know the ward in and out. And recently, the nodal officers from admin BBMP, we have issued an order where normally officers who reside within that ward or within that zone, they've been identified as nodal officers. So, and they're not doctors. So they're BBMP employees. So this nodal officer and the ward secretary would actually have to drive this in terms of setting up of the triage center and any other kind of infrastructure that would be required.
Okay, I had a question, Mr. Randeep. This is Tara here from Citizens for Bengaluru. If a patient walks into one of the triage centers, would you please walk us through what happens? For example, who is likely to first attend to them? Is that a qualified doctor or a volunteer? And then what happens? What are sort of the 3 or 4 steps
Okay, so we expect at least one caretaker to come, and we presume that even if they had to go to the hospital, the caretaker would have taken them. So we have a small testing unit there also, which we are setting up. Not all have been up, but we've been telling that have a small testing unit so that the caretaker is first tested. And then the patient is actually taken to a kind of a reception where there is these doctors and nurses in PPE, and then they actually start talking to the patient. If the patient is not in that critical condition and is able to speak, or they ask the caretaker some basic questions. So we have a triage form which runs into about 2 pages. Very basic questions like what's your age, what's your medical history, are you suffering from comorbidities and all of that. And once the 2-page form is filled by the doctors, quickly there is an algorithm to kind of at the back end decide into which category this patient falls, including stats like SpO2 level and all of that. And at that moment, if we make a decision that this person can be under home isolation, then we advise the caretaker and tell them to be isolated if the home is adequate enough. If the home adequacy check is not kind of passed, then you can stay in the CCC. We have there itself. You need not go anywhere else. Second step is that in case we find that they need admission, and this is the critical part, that we have linked our triage centers to the zonal control rooms presently. Soon we may have a day where we are also bed blocking from the triage centers itself, but that will take some time. But till then, we have tied them up with the zonal control rooms. Certain hospitals have been identified, though we have not made them exclusive for those triage centers, which is again a policy decision we may have to take in the next 2-3 days. So we give them access to the available beds that are available. And of course, if it is a critical care kind of a bed that is required, then it is flagged in the emergency group. And as per the priority, we start allotting. Now, if it is a stay in the CCC itself, we take the patient, the evaluation is done, the patient is taken immediately and given some oxygen bed if required. If the patient has to be stabilized till a bed is made available, then through oxygen concentrators, and some of them even have piped oxygen facility, they will be administered oxygen and blood tests would be taken, and some immediate medication would start, even in terms of IV and all that. So broadly, these are the steps that would be followed there. So it's critical that once patients come there, we are always in a better position to evaluate the condition.
One of the other question, a nice question, in fact, is how can we contribute? Is there a CSR contribution? Can citizens participate in this in some way?
Well, firstly, I would like to thank the citizens of Bangalore, because we have seen overwhelming support in terms of a lot of contributions. Though BBMP does not take money directly, we are not bound by the government regulations. But if you want to contribute, I would say the best way is to kind of support any of these COVID care centers in terms of consumables, because the doctors require a lot of PPE kits. There would be some medications required, consumables required. Oxygen concentrators is something which we are looking for everywhere. Any kind of support that you can give to the staff who are working in and out there. So anything which is non-cash, which can be given in kind, which can contribute to the better functioning of these triage centers, I think is always welcome.
That's great. Sir, what are the numbers looking like? Are people beginning to use the triage centers? Is anybody going from triage center to the ICUs or hospitals?
Yeah,
Any
so
of those things can you share?
Yeah, so we are getting some response, not the kind of response that we expected. I mean, we could triage about 240 of them yesterday. We realized that broadly, about 50% of them could be managed at the triage centers itself with the associated CCCs. We also found that some of them required the critical care beds and then had to be kind of shifted immediately. I'll probably read out yesterday's statistics, which probably I have it on my phone. So we had 242 walk-ins yesterday. 87 of them, interestingly, we referred to the home isolation. 128, which is almost 50%. We said that you don't have to go to hospital. Don't worry, you will stabilize very well in the CCC itself. And we admitted them in the CCCs. So only 27, which is about 10-15% of the walk-ins which happened, we had to actually refer to hospital. So what triaging actually does is it kind of declogs the system. It makes the hospitals accessible to only the deserving at that point of time. And that releases a lot more beds for people who have to actually be at hospital. So I would urge more people to actually come to triage centers and avail these facilities, because you yourself also need to be convinced that you may not require hospital, you may not require any kind of external support. And if you do, also you get a confirmation in the triage centers that probably you will require this kind of a bed, a basic oxygenated bed, high flow bed, ICU. So I think all those, it has multiple benefits. Though I should say, Srinivas, that we have not yet done away with the teletriaging. We have not reached a time where we have said that stop all teletriaging. Anybody who wants the hospital bed needs to come to triage centers. I think we will be more comfortable with that if we have many more triage centers for the size of Bangalore. And then we can reach a point of time where we say no more teletriaging. In case you require a hospital bed, please come. Or if the patient is very critical, we send our mobile triage team to your house.
Thank you. Yes, very mindful of time, Sapna. Any last questions?
Sir, I have a question to check.
No,
Srinivas,
nothing.
I would like to ask a question.
Make it very quick, sir.
I'm here till 9, no problem.
This is Kamraj
want to
from
ask
Namma
only
team.
a small question.
Just a question: when a patient comes and he needs a critical care, say a ICU bed, would BBMP find the ICU bed for him, or would the patient again have to find it himself?
No. See, the advantage with if you come to a triage center is that the responsibility directly shifts onto us. Not that it wasn't with us when you made that phone call or you sent a WhatsApp message. But all I'm saying is, physically the patient is there, or at least the caretaker is there somewhere near the triage center. So that there is that much amount of pressure on us to kind of find a critical care facility. Secondly, you are.
Can everyone go on mute, please? Can everyone go on mute, please? Let sir speak.
So you are also queued up as a priority queue in the hunt for the bed at that appropriate time. And thirdly, you would also there would be that much more accessibility in terms of ambulances near the triage center if we need to reach you. And lastly, yes, the stabilization part. So many of them can be stabilized for some time at least during this hunt for the bed, which otherwise at a home or maybe in transit, one may keep, the patient may keep sinking. So these are the slight advantages. I do admit that the critical care beds is still in short number, simply because the cases have increased to levels. And this way we are seeing more of breathlessness cases vis-a-vis probably last year.
From our experience, triage centers are asking people to call 1912 and 108, and this is not happening.
Okay, so please send me a direct message as to which triage centers are doing this. I mean, Srinivas can probably bring this to my notice. This is not the protocol. If they're doing this, probably there is some handholding required from our end. We don't expect them to make any direct calls. The triage centers are well connected to the zonal control rooms. There is a nodal officer in the zonal control room who's the rank of a KS officer. We are having VCs with them directly. I'll probably tell this point and ask them to take ownership of this.
There are many questions. Some of you have asked us to follow up on this, and please leave a detailed question and we'll try to bring it to sir's notice and try to put the response back in public domain. At 9 o'clock, sir will leave. After that, if you can stay for 2-3 minutes, we will tell you some other things that are going on with the ward level volunteers. So that way we can all stay connected even after this meeting. Any other questions?
Sir,
Umesh, sir?
how will we know, how can we, give this message to across the ward that triage center can be used by people, because it is in social media that many are aware, but, every ward has a slum kind of a thing, and people may not come there, because yesterday when I went, only 10 beds were full in the triage center. So how can people avail this opportunity? How to inform them that, there is a possibility from BBMP, there is a Prahari announcement or something that so people can come and make use of this. So in the last minute, they don't have to panic.
Yeah, it's a good question, Dr. Shanti. Thank you for the support that you've been rendering. Yes, a lot more awareness is required. I just can't make a paper ad and put it on my website and expect everybody will know about it. And that is where we expect Srinivas and team to also activate the data committees and spread this word around. probably if a local person goes around spreading this, people are more aware of it by word of mouth. We could use some vehicle announcements also. Rather than panicking and rushing to the hospitals, they can come to these centers. Yes, you're right. In terms of awareness, we need to do a bit more, because the numbers also, I was fairly disappointed to see that only 242 people walked in across 48 centers. We did expect a lot more. Probably if we make it mandatory that physical triage is an absolute must, in case you require a BBMP bed, probably the numbers would increase. But we've not yet taken that decision. We'll have to wait for some time.
In fact, this conversation itself is an idea to promote and make sure that people understand what a triage center is. So there is a less hesitation and the responsibility on all of us. And I must say, I'm pleasantly surprised to see more than 160 people for a meeting that was announced like at 10 p.m. last night for 8:30 morning. So all of us have a responsibility of conveying this. What we will do after this meeting is that we're going to convert some of the statements that sir made into short videos or text posters. So you can use that to promote awareness about these triage centers. So please, I request all of you to be ambassadors and champions of these things. So if you understand the information, then you'll be able to help 10 others. So that's the spirit.
I have one question, if I can ask.
Last question, one, Srinivas.
Yes, we have 3 minutes. We have 3 more minutes. Keep it short.
3 more questions.
I have a
Triage
question,
center,
Randeep.
To reduce people entry to triage center, the second dose of Covaxin should be given fast, as senior citizens are struggling to get second dose of Covaxin, sir.
Yeah, I have noted that point, as the vaccination is not my subject, but I do know from what I've heard that there are shortages in terms of supply, which is why the camp mode kind of vaccination has been done away with. Presently, it's in the PHCs. But I'll flag this issue to the concerned.
Revati ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
Sir, how can we get the nearest contact number, sir, of the triage centers?
I'll explain to you after sir leaves. I'll explain that to you, sir. Let's not.
So could we have a contact number where we can escalate issues? For example, most of the triage centers, so I'm a volunteer with Namma team, most of the triage centers where we send patients, they are not assisting patients in bed booking. Okay, they, say, okay, now you have to go back to 1912, call 108 and then book a bed. Most of the triage centers.
Yeah,
All right. So where do we escalate this?
Yeah, so this question was just asked by somebody else.
Yes.
That requires sensitization from our hand. It's our responsibility. Probably we will tell them that they should not put it back on the patients. Very valid feedback. Thank you for that. So we'll have to correct that at our end.
So, but then is there a number where we can escalate this? Because as you said, we can reach out to you, but to the BBMP folks, but whom in the BBMP do we reach out to for this?
See, the very idea is that we do not want the system to run in a centralized manner. We don't want the patient to again reach out to somebody in head office or a 1912 and then try to, when you say escalate, I want you to escalate only to the zonal control. And we want to make the zonal control room the kind of a fulcrum which works for that particular zone. We can share the nodal case officers who are running these.
It's already on the website, sir. I'll share that after.
All the 120, 150, 160 hospitals, whatever there, are accessible to all the zones. We have not done any zonal bifurcation of hospitals. Being in Mahadevpura, you can book Manipal HL. Being in East Zone, you can book probably a Baptist hospital. So
that is not happening again. I mean, just last night we were trying to find a bed for a patient. He's a heart patient and he needed a specialized hospital who can assist him. So there was a bed available in one of the East Zone hospitals. The patient is from South Zone. The South Zone zonal war room clearly told us that, ma'am, this is not possible. We don't have data of the East Zone hospitals. We can only assist you with South Zone hospitals.
No.
They are all working with the zone-wise.
I reiterate my point that no zone-wise allocation of hospitals has been made. Otherwise, you would have not found other zone patients landing up in a Manipal or a Columbia Asia or a Victoria hospital. So that we cannot do that. Bangalore hospitals belongs to everybody in Bangalore.
Yeah, but then and this happened at 1 a.m. And at 1 a.m. we cannot, make a lot of calls because a lot of people are sleeping or unavailable. So this was a real problem last night. We struggled with the patient for almost 3 hours.
Take it up with South Zone.
It's understood, ma'am. You made your point. I think there are many issues like this. It's not the only issue. So definitely something worth following
Thank
up.
you
Sir,
so
thank you so
Mr.
much.
Randeep, I have
sir.
a question if you don't mind.
Revati.
Just wanted, yes, Revati here.
Okay,
from
please ask your
CPAC.
last question and then I'm on because there's a
Yes.
lot of calls waiting.
So I just wanted to know the level 1 and level 2, between level 1 and level 2, what is the differentiation that you are
The basic
creating?
difference is level 2 will have an extended bed facility for a patient to be there. Level 1, it will be at a ward level. We don't expect bed capacity to be created at level 1 because we want more level 1s, one in each ward at least. So that's the only difference. Otherwise, there is no triaging.
So there will
remain the
be,
same. The
when
doctors
you say
then do the
triaging, they will not be hospitalized, or they will be
so
home
they
isolation.
will not have a attached CCC close to that place. They will have to recommend to a level 2 triage center with an attached CCC for admission. That's the
Right.
only. Yeah. So
Right.
thank you all.
Right.
Thank you for the
So
questions. I
last
hope I could have
question,
spent more time
if I
with you.
can ask, a lot of hospitals are not taking admissions without a BU number. So if the patient is asymptomatic, or if he's tested negative, he doesn't have a BU number, how do we get them to a triage center? Because triage centers, they're running pillar to post.
Okay, so I'll answer this in the next 30 seconds. There are two things. One, you have tested negative, then you're not a COVID positive patient. You become what is called as a SARI patient. So you are outside the COVID system. There is Rajiv Gandhi Chest Institute, and you need to call 108 to reach that. Suppose you are chest CT positive, then it is a responsibility of BBMP. The zones know how to do it. Reach out to the zonal control rooms. They flag it to us, and centrally we are booking the chest CT positive cases and queuing it up. Lastly, yes, the zone cannot block beds with just SRFID. The zones actually escalated to the war room, which is at BMP, and we receive about 20 to 30 cases in a day. The VU number is not generated. SRF based ID blockings are going on. Okay, the zonal control rooms know this. We have not kept it at the zonal control rooms because it could be misused, but the central war room can do it. Thank you all, and I probably Srinivas can share with me the list of other questions.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you so very much. We wish you all the best, and our best regards to all the BBMP staff, officers, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
very much.
If I may request all
Thank
the
you very much.
participants to stay for 5 more minutes. We'll just share some information on how to find the triage centers. If you can just give us 2 minutes, we will show that to you.
Srinivas, will you be sharing this recording?
Yes, we have recorded this. We will shortly share it. Not only we'll share the whole recording, I think it's going to be put on YouTube, but also we are going to edit it and cut it into a shorter snippet, so you can easily share it on WhatsApp and other things like that.
Okay.
Just wait for a few minutes on that. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, Seenu. Yeah. go ahead.
Srinivas,
Yes.
one question I have asked, I want an answer for that, because one of my cousins, having gone through the COVID fever itself, had his second vaccination, and he's not able to get the certificate. With that, what has happened? His abroad to travel is coming to a standstill.
And please ping me separately. This is a individual issue, right? We'll try to help you in whatever way we can. Okay, so there is this website called blcares.in. Some of you might have been familiar with it. One of the things that people in Bengaluru are unaware of is which ward they belong to. We all know we live in Bangalore and BBMP, but beyond that, if someone asks you which ward, those of you on the call, most 99% of you will know your ward, but that's not the same for all the other our neighbors and our friends. So we made this website blcares.in so that you understand which ward you live in. For example, if I type in some location here, like where I live nearby, so then it shows me the ward that I'm in. As you can see now in the map, I can see the ward that it shows that I live in a ward called Gottigere, ward 194, and see this. This is the nodal officer for that ward. This is the person that you want to contact if you want to volunteer for any of the COVID related activities. This person is the head of the ward data committees, WDC as we call it. What is a ward data committee? It is nothing but a ward committee, but in the context of the COVID management. And DITR stands for Decentralized Triage and Emergency Response. This is a new BBMP circular that came because of the COVID situation. So all of us, many of you I know are already part of the WDCs, but many more are on this call. So you may not be aware. So I'm explaining this to you. So you have to attach yourself to the WDC. And this is the person that Mr. Randeep was keep referring to, right? Nodal officer, nodal officer. This is the person of nodal officer. So if you enter your address, you will find out what is your ward, who is your nodal officer, which is your zone. And the zone is very important. The most important, one of the most important things for all of you to know is which zone you belong to, or the zonal structure of BBMP, because the zones have war rooms. All the bed booking is centralized at the zonal level. So you can start calling the zonal war rooms. So if you want to, for a situation where there's a bed booking is required. This is the way to help anyone that requires a bed, and you can make a call on behalf, or you can convey to them and all of that. Now the triage centers are new. We have 198 wards, but only 48 triage centers. And this is very new. 2 days ago, we had 20 triage centers. 3 days ago, we had 32. Yesterday, we have 48. Tomorrow, we'll have 55. That's how they are building it every day. And people are not aware of it. You can tell, because Mr. Randeep was sharing that, only 242 people have visited officially according to his statistics. That's really a small number, right? A lot more people can take advantage of it, especially those that don't have access to a doctor, teleconsultation. Some of us might pick up a phone and speak to somebody or visit a local doctor, things like that. But that is not possible for many people, especially in the low income groups, in the slums and things like that. So if you are connected to NGOs or people that are working in that, you can tell them about the triage centers. What we are planning to do is that create the map of the triage center itself on this. It is still work in progress because BBMP is adding the triage centers very fast. So when you come here, you will see where are the nearest triage centers. This is going to be updated in a few hours this morning, but you will see what are the nearest triage centers. This is one point I want you to understand. So you know who is your ward, and you can also sign up as a volunteer, and you can get to see, you can click on this and see the details of your ward. Let's say you want to see details of Vartur ward. You type Vartur, and now you can get the information about Vartur. So this is the zone of Madhapura zone, and the nodal officer is Mr. Srinivas. This is his number, and this is the war room number for that Madhapura zone. You are free to call any zone, but this is probably the first war room you want to call if you want to. And this is a person, somebody was asking just now, again and again, about escalation point, right? Now here is escalation point. This is the person that's at the zonal level. If you are finding any real issues, you can try to reach this person. All of this is publicly available, published information by the BBMP. But the problem is that many of them are in PDFs, are in documents. So we try to convert it into a way that you can use easily. That's what this website does. And as the information comes together, we'll also include what's the nearest triage center, what's the phone number of that. All of that we are adding to this. Because some of the mapping and all of these things will take time, we also created links like this. So you can immediately go here, click on the zonal COVID war room and see the numbers. We are going to create another link here called COVID triage centers, and it will have the 48 list like this. We have been promoting those numbers everywhere. So here also you will see a thing called 48 triage centers. But for the most of you, what I request you to do is to become a member of your ward committee. So if you are in Ward 65, and you understand what your nodal officer is, because there are many other citizens. For example, Rekha Chari madam has joined this call. She is one of the citizens in the ward committee. So now if you are also from this ward, you can, if the nodal officer is not active or not responding, you can connect with Rekha ma'am, and together you can get involved in the ward level activities. There are many, when there was a call out for citizens to volunteer in the ward level COVID management, nearly 1,200 Bengaloreans have signed up. It's such a wonderful thing to see. 1,200 citizens want to help the city in their own ward. But there are issues because the ward committee in that ward may not be functional yet. So what we are trying to do is give them some information like today we had about the triage centers or other things. So they can independently start working and at least act as a communications champion, awareness building, connecting people to the right things, who to call, when to call, things like vaccination are going to come up on this. So we request you to, if you're not already a volunteer in this, you can come here and click on the volunteer thing and you can become a volunteer. And if you are registering as an RW or a CSO, you have even bigger responsibility. Then you can, in the future, you can act as a bridge between the BBMP and that community, and you can organize vaccination camps and other things that they're planning. So we can do all of these kind of things. So my request to all of you is to use this website, blcares.in. You can also be accessed by another name because of the WDC, it is there. I'm not sure if the name is active now, but it's also called bbmpwdc.in. Either website works, it goes to the same place. And it also finds, based on the location, it tells you where to go on it. So any road you type, any address, your address you type, it will automatically find the ward for you. So quickly you can figure out which ward it is. I typed Cunningham Road and I found out that that is in Ward 93, which is in Shivaji Nagar constituency. And the nodal officer is Manjulamma, her number is such and such, and so on. So very quickly, who are the local people for your ward. This is the main message that we wanted to convey to you. Sapna, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, just a couple of points. I know many people have registered to volunteer, and from our end, every volunteer that has registered on blcares.in has been sent to the nodal officers officially designated by the BBMP. In our own conversations, we have ascertained that there are about maybe 60 to 65 nodal officers who are very, very active, and they have been in conversations with us to utilize these volunteers, have reached out, have created groups and so on. There may be many others who have not yet done this, and you may be in a ward that has not yet had an active nodal officer. So from our end, we will continue to send this list out again and be in touch with them to make sure they actually use your time and interest to make this ward level thing work. But just bear with us even as we are doing this. Just to reaffirm that everybody who registered as of yesterday, all the data has gone to the nodal officers. Please reach out to them directly too, because I'm sure they're receiving multiple messages. They must be on many groups and so on. Please reach out to them even as we are doing this from our end also. So I just wanted to state that.
Okay, thank you, and you can leave a message in the chat window if you are not part of this volunteer groups and you want to. So we will save, I'll request the moderator to save all the chat messages so that we can add you to those groups.
Srinivas, I would like to ask you something.
Yes, ma'am. Saraswati, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, please. Look, Srinivas, 45 ward. We don't have any proper committee member for whatever ward. I was given, my application, everything was given, but it has not been recognized. But I'm still continuing. And now because of this pandemic and all, nothing has been done. Supposing if I want to take up this, whom can we appoint from 45 ward to take it up? See, now I have Ravi there, Aparna there. Whom to recommend?
Ma'am, I recommend that you speak to the zonal officer. That's the best course of action right now. If
I don't have a zonal officer. I don't.
I'll send you it's there on this website. I'll send it
nodal,
to you separately.
Okay, and nodal officer also not appointed as nodal officer.
So that escalation point is a zonal level officer. I will send you the information. It's also on this website, but I can send it to you separately also, so you can approach that.
Thank you, Srini. Thank you.
Srinivas, sir, I have one question, sir. Sorry to disturb.
No, go ahead.
Sir, I am staying in Ramurthy Nagar and I would like to be a volunteer. Okay. And just want to know being a volunteer, how I can help the society and who can guide me to do a good volunteer job.
Sir, fundamentally, this whole approach is the decentralized COVID management. That's what we are trying to do. So if you are from Ramurthy Nagar and you want to volunteer, the first thing we would say to you is become part of the Ramurthy Nagar Ward Data Committee. So you have a committee in Ramurthy Nagar. Looks like this is your ward number 26. Here is your nodal officer. In fact, Mr. Basvachari is a very active nodal officer. You should immediately contact this person and start working with him based on what the work currently going on. So what kind of roles can volunteers play? Any role that is not medical, basically, it can be about consulting people, taking calls, or helping people identify where is the testing place, how can I get an ambulance locally, any number of things like that. The nodal officer and you together as a team can create the structure. in Belandur and Vartur, many such groups have already formed, and they organized volunteers into different teams. Home isolation team, somebody is offering food, somebody is going into slums and trying to get pulse oximeters there. Everything depends on the nature of that ward, what is going on in the ward, and how you are working closely with the ward nodal officer. In your particular case, you don't even have to register as volunteer. You can go to Mr. Baswachari directly. If you register also, we will add you to a particular group, so that way you can get this information. One of the biggest roles anyone can play when there is no nodal officer or when the ward committee is not active is to be the champion of such information about the triad centers, about vaccination, about any number of things that other people may not be aware of. There is a lot of misinformation. People are not isolating, for example, while they're waiting for the test result. That's a very dangerous thing to do, because you may turn positive. In the meanwhile, you might transmit the virus to 10 other people. So if we create this kind of local awareness, and when people from the same apartment or same street tell you something, it becomes more serious rather than information coming in a news channel or some unknown source in WhatsApp and all of that. So as responsible citizens, this is the biggest thing that all volunteers can do, is to promote what is now called COVID appropriate behavior, right? COVID behavior. So it's about mask, it's about distancing, it's about isolating seriously. One person in the family is tested positive, immediately everybody must get tested. There is no second question about it, because something may become serious later on, even if they are not showing any symptoms. This kind of awareness building can be done, and the government of Karnataka has created so much of communication material. It is called the IEC material, the communication material, available in many languages. In addition to Kannada and English, it's also available in many languages that are spoken in Bengaluru, used in Bengaluru. So all of these information is shared in a common location, and you can take it from there and spread it locally. So these are things that volunteers can do.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Srinivas, I have two questions.
Yeah.
One
Let's
question
do the last question. I also have to go to meet.
Yeah. So I'm from Ward 27, and I know we are trying to set up our WDC. So is there any support that is required? Because my organization would like to help too. So is there some sort of proposal needs that you'll require that I could share?
Again, I've just looked up your ward. Mr. Madhu is the nodal officer. Again, I think its ward is actively working, if I'm not mistaken. My team can help me. Yeah, so, work locally with them. And, one of the biggest things, if you are an organization, sounds like you're an organization, one of the biggest things you can do is to identify the vulnerable communities, which are the areas where information is not going, where there's no access to healthcare. There might be issues with respect to rations and food, because as the lockdown continues, we are getting into other problems and situations, as we all know. So there are many relief activities that people like you and your teams can take on. And you can work on it directly with the local communities, or you can work more formally, somewhat formally, with the nodal ward data committees. These ward committees are an institutional mechanism in Bengaluru. They are not just about COVID. In fact, they existed before COVID. During COVID, their role has become much more clearer and useful to everybody. In fact, the ward level COVID management is seen as a very big reason for the turnaround story in Mumbai and other cities, how decentralization happened, right? That's what Mr. Randeep was saying. We don't want everybody to call some central number head office. That won't work, because we are 1.2 crore people. So that's never going to work. So the call should go to local people rather than the central people. So please work accordingly.
Hello.
Hello, I have one question.
Yeah.
Sir, one question.
Yes,
how should we handle the people coming from village panchayat areas who are COVID patients? We have many of them, and we are not able to accommodate. We are not able to dispense the medicine kits also from BBMP. How to handle these patients?
I don't think anyone can stop getting them in any medical help, ma'am. This is a free country, as far as to the best of my knowledge, and I am not a government person, as you know. We are all from an NGO. So there is no rule that prevents any triage center or hospital from admitting anybody from panchayats or outside or otherwise. In fact, many Bangaloreans have gone to other cities to get medical care. So,
Sampath here, can I answer this question? We have
Sampath,
triage centers open in panchayat limit also. So if
ಯಾವ
our
ಪಂಚಾಯತ್
side-
ಹೇಳಿ ಯಾವ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್
ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ 5 ಪಂಚಾಯತಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಮಂಗಲ ಸೀಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ 5 ಪಂಚಾಯತಿಗೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಟ್ರಯಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್.
ಸಂಪತ್ ಅವರು elected panchayat leader, by the way, so his official information is giving. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So for our side, I don't know about which area she is speaking, but our side we have a
Gottigere,
trial
sir.
center.
Gottigere. Gottigere, Sakalvara. It is called as Sakalvara village, sir.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ 5 ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಅಂತ, ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಮೆಡ್ರಾಸ್ ರೋಡ್. We have a trial center opened yesterday, so all our 5 panchayats will go there.
Okay, sir.
Madam, I suggest that you
guide.
go to the Gottigere. Your nearest trial center is Anjanapura, madam. You should try Anjanapura trial center.
Okay, sir.
Anjanapura is closest to you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You can check with the PDO of your panchayat. He might be knowing the nearest which is allocated to you.
Yeah, I've tried the nodal officers yesterday. I could not find it. So anyway, we have given the prescription to him. So I am a doctor working for one of the NGOs. So yeah, I just wanted to know how to help these people who are not getting a kit also from BBMP, and they have to buy the medicine. So have any access to the gram panchayats where we can talk to some officer or somebody person in charge? Are they dispensing any medicines to the gram panchayat level, to the villages where they don't have a medical stores also, sir?
Please contact the nodal officer of Gottigere. She should be able to help you.
Yeah. So our side will be home kit, everything, madam. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining.
Bye. Thank you so much, Rini.
Thank you all. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Srinivas.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Rini. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Srinivas. Thank you, Srinivas. Thank you. Bye.
Srinivas, hi, this is Pratish.
Yes.
So I just had one question. This is not pertaining to triage centers. Yesterday I got one-off call. There was one patient who got admitted to a triple C center, cold care center, somewhere by HAL. He's saying that his pulse oximeter level is fine, SpO2 level is fine, he doesn't have any comorbidities, and he's got a place where he can isolate himself. However, the situation here is the concerned person over that it's East 1, I think E1 HAL. They're saying no, unless and until you don't get a letter from any of the hospitals saying that you won't admit yourself, we are not going to let you out. So how to go about with this thing, sir?
Escalate to the zonal level. If the local people are not able to help you, escalate to zonal level. Here is the zonal information, and you go to your ward and find the zonal officer number, and then then go to the corresponding zonal officer number. That's much what I can think of right now. If you are in ward HAL airport, then 87, then Mahesh Babu is the contact person for you. Thank you very much.
So,
everyone.
my pleasure. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vishwa, for setting it up. Thanks, Sapna. We'll see you guys later. So, Vishwa, if you can save all the backend chat.
The chats are saved. I'll be sharing it with you.
Yeah, great. And then you can consolidate and respond and send it to Randeep sir also.
Sure.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.